Hey everyone, Brendan Sander here. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of New Music Finds. So this is where I like to collect together all the different albums and things that I've purchased over the past week, present it to you, and I get it from different places like my local record stores, but also online retail like Amazon, eBay, and more. I've got 23 different things to go through with you here, 15 CDs and 8 records. We'll do that in just a bit, but before we get started, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on really cool episodes just like this with New Music Finds. So we had a pretty big release week this past April 14th, and we're going to kick things right off with those new releases. And the first one was a major one. The brand new Metallica album, 72 Seasons, just came out. 7 long years since the last one. I have done a full review of that album, so I'm going to leave a link in the description if you want to check that out in its entirety. But I do like the album. I think it's a really strong album, but my opinion on it varies. I've got really two sides of how I feel about it. One, 12 tracks of bone-crushing, hard, heavy Metallica stuff, but at the same time, it all kind of sounds the same. It's all in the vein of the sort of groove metal style stuff that they do and not the straight up thrash. And there really isn't any peaks and valleys. We don't have the thrash, the groove, the ballads, anything like that, so that where you're getting sort of the peaks and valleys, the highs and lows and stuff like that, making me sort of be on the fence about the album. But I do like it. It is a really interesting album. I don't think there's any clunkers on it, that sort of a thing. So again, if you want to hear a full review of it, check the description or head over to my channel and you'll see it up there. So next one was one that actually was a big surprise for me. I wasn't expecting a lot from this, but Tramp's Songs of White Lion, this one turned out to be really good. He's doing all White Lion songs, 12 of them here, and Tramp's solo material is done more in the sort of troubadour folk rock style, acoustic guitars and that sort of stuff. And this here I thought would be all in that vein, just reinterpreting White Lion for that. But he actually does them. They're sort of modernized takes on White Lion songs, but the guitar player on here shreds and does a really good job ripping through those Vita Barata solos and everything on here. And it is a full electric band on this, but it's definitely done in a little bit slower, down-tuned way so that Mike can sing them today, modernizing them a bit, making them sound like they were all written and recorded at the same time, which I think is really cool. And I've found that I really enjoyed it. Key little things that I didn't necessarily care about the original ones have been corrected. There's a few things that, it's missing a little piece here or there or something like that, but I like it. I thought it was really good. If you're a fan of White Lion or Tramp, I do recommend that. Now this next one, unfortunately, was a huge disappointment. Brand new LA Guns, Black Diamonds. This one here, I'm so disappointed with. I just have felt like LA Guns has been going downhill on their last few releases. This is the reunited lineup with Phil Lewis and Tracy Guns, so you are getting what is considered the classic guys, because there's that other version of LA Guns out there with the drummer and the bass player, but you got the singer and the guitar player over here. But this just doesn't have anything that sounds like LA Guns to me on it, including the vocals by Phil Lewis, who is usually the sort of deciding factor in it. This just seems like a bunch of throwaway songs. It sounds like they're trying to be Led Zeppelin or something they're not. And I'm just not enjoying it. I hate to say that because I am a big LA Guns fan, but this one here, not doing it for me at all. Okay, the next one, on the other hand, very, very good. Overkill Scorched. This album here actually gives the new Metallica album a run for its money. I've really enjoyed this here. This one has the peaks and valleys in it that I look for and is full on thrash the way that we love Overkill doing it. Lead vocalist of Bobby Blitz Ellsworth, so good, up to par. I think he's 63 or something now, and he still sounds amazing on here. So kudos to them for still being able to do it at this date in their career. Next one, Archon Angel, 2, second studio album. This is a Frontiers Records project, but the vocalist is Zach Stevens, former frontman for Savatage, and I absolutely love his vocals. The first one was done very close in the vein of classic Savatage that he was part of, like Edge of Thorns, that style stuff. This one, not so much. You still have Zach singing, so it has that feel, but it does sound like they've tried to branch off and kind of do their own thing. So a little disappointed that it's not done in the classic Savatage style, but at the same time, it's still a very good album, and I hope that it grows on me some more. All right, this next one I almost didn't even order. At the very tail end, I ended up placing it in the order, and I'm glad that I did because it really surprised me. Jason Bieler, Postcards from the Asylum. Jason Bieler being the guitar player from Saigon Kick, who also took over on lead vocals at their third album after Matt Kramer left. So I also consider him the frontman of the band because he did 3 albums that way. But this one here, far more in the vein of Saigon Kick than the first Jason Bieler solo album under the name Baron von Belsky Orchestra, which is what this is here. I like this one. Now, he's got the down-tuned guitars, very modern sounding guitars and things like that, but the song structure and everything is much closer to that. If you like Saigon Kick, I think you're going to really enjoy this one here and would recommend it. I wasn't expecting much. I put it on and it really surprised me. This next one too was really good. Again, something I wasn't expecting, having very high hopes for. It is the album The Ducks, called Flying High, or High Flying, I should say. But the Ducks featured Neil Young on guitar. And then we've got other various people in there, one of them being the bass player from Moby Grape. But what I found out is that other members within the group sang, and I was expecting this just to be a Neil Young, solo album with a backing band, but it's not. It was actually a band effort under the name The Ducks. It was short-lived. They never recorded any studio material that I'm aware of, but this is a double live album, and it's got a lot of cool tracks on it from various recording projects and things like that, and it's great sounding quality on here. Almost can't even hear the audience within it, which I like because it comes off more as a studio recording than a straight up live album. But I highly recommend it if you're a fan of Neil Young and looking for something a little new. And then I also got this. This actually came out the week before on April 7th, but it only arrived late for me. Dream Theater, The Making of Falling into Infinity, part of their Lost Not Forgotten Archive series. I had really high hopes for this, but unfortunately just not something that I ended up enjoying. It is pieces of demo tracks and stuff of them in the studio, and it just isn't something I'm ever going to put on and listen to. It's kind of interesting, like a fly on the wall sort of a thing, but they've got various takes with fleshing things out or whatever, but there's talking, there's guitar tuning, there's stops and there's starts and stuff. So not something that I'm going to pop on and listen to like a demos album. I've listened to it the one time through, sort of got a kick out of it, but I see there's a few more of these things that are going to be popping up. I do not think I will be picking any of them up. If you're not familiar with any of these, give it a listen online before you order it, just to make sure it's something that you're going to want to have in your collection. All right, I picked up a used album. Peter Frampton, fourth studio album. I got this one from Sound Exchange, actually a Japanese import version of it, which was kind of cool. Got it used. It doesn't make much difference in terms of track listing or anything of that nature. But having picked up a few different Frampton things recently, I thought I want to go back and get the original album before he did his Frampton Comes Alive, where of course he takes 2 of the tracks off of this, Baby I Love Your Way and Show Me the Way. And those became such big hits off the live album that I wanted to hear the original studio album those came from. So picked that up. Got a couple things from Amazon, and these are the Universal Japan reissues that come from Japan. 2 things from Pablo Cruz, soft rock, yacht rock style music. Again, I picked up one album on one of my shopping excursions the previous week, and I really ended up enjoying it. And so I went online and I saw that Universal Japan has reissued a couple of these things. If you're not familiar with the Universal Japan reissues, they're Japanese released albums that have been reissued, but instead of them costing $30, they're only like $13 or $14 in the US, and so makes it a lot of fun to pick those things up. And of course, a lot of those are out of print domestically in the US, so if you've been looking for some out of print albums, it's a cool way to get a hold of some of them. Okay, then I made a trip to Tunes in Hoboken, New Jersey. I did film a Let's Go to the Record Store video on it. I will leave a link in the description for that, so you're going to have both the Metallica and that in there if you're interested. Picked up a few things. Hall & Oats H2O. Got the classic Man Eater on it, and turned out I ended up really enjoying that album. I now think that might be my favorite Hall & Oats album. I thought a couple of the other ones I picked up recently, Bam Big Boom or whatever it was called. I thought that, maybe that one is a good album, but I think I like this one a bit better than that. Picked up a Super Tramp Best Of. Didn't actually enjoy that one as much as I thought I would. The songs aren't, say, the single edits or versions like that. There are a lot of them are the straight album ones, so they've got those long lead-ins and things like that. And I don't really think it flows as well as I would have liked to it have flowed. So probably going to be listening to the studio albums more than I will this Best Of collection, but got it in the collection in case I want a Best Of. I found this Head East album. Didn't have this one. Get Yourself Up. Very hard to come across their stuff both on record and or especially on CD. So finding this one, this was a nice find to get. Took a chance on this one, Platinum Blonde Contact. This one here, Canadian band. Like I said before, I think that should have been the album cover as opposed to staring at those guys, but hey, music's interesting on it. A little more funk, R&B infused pop or melodic rock that's got that as opposed to just straight AOR kind of sounding stuff. So it's kind of interesting. And then I found this, Vow Wow, Japanese band that used to go under the name Bow Wow, changed their name in the 80s. Very cool to find. Their stuff extremely hard to find, but that was nice there. Got all those for only a few bucks, so that was great. And then I stopped at Factory Records Saturday night when I like to go, when nobody's usually there. This time, though, lots of people were there. Joe Bouchard from Blue Oyster Cult was actually performing. Now, I wasn't part of the venue, but the venue is inside the music store. So that's off in a little area, and it's only hidden behind a curtain. So I stood there shopping for music, listening to live Joe Bouchard, which he was doing Blue Oyster Cult songs. So that was actually a lot of fun to be able to hear it, even though I wasn't seeing it. And I picked up some stuff while I was there. One of the things I picked up, totally wasn't expected to be as taken by this as I have been. 10cc Deceptive Bends. This album cover just grabbed me, and later on I found out why, because it's done by Hypnosis, who does a lot with Pink Floyd and other bands. But picked this up and don't know what necessarily was, the big hits off here. I think I saw that The Things We Do for Love, Good Morning Judge, and one of the other ones were released as singles off of here, but I didn't recognize anything. It was just kind of quirky and fun, and I enjoyed it. And later found out, just through reading up on the band, that this is the first album they made after two of their original members left the group that were the more experimental side of the group. So, I'm going to have to go back and check out some other stuff, but I really did enjoy this one here, which basically took the two guys that wrote more of the pop stuff and just made an album worth of that, but that was pretty good. I want to check out the post albums after this, where those guys continue to do that sort of stuff. And then I took just an absolute try on this group here. It's called The Broken Homes. It's written there, but the name of the album, Wing and a Prayer, on MCA Records. And just checking to see if there was a better photo of the guys in there. Came out in, I think it was 1990. This came out. So 1990 on MCA Records. I just looked at those guys on the front cover and I thought, this is going to be rock of some kind. It might be a little more, sort of alternative rock or something, but it's going to be rock nonetheless. And I did enjoy it. It's good stuff. It is not straight up, hard rock that maybe you would expect or whatever, but definitely some good stuff. So I got a couple cool CDs, and then I got some records. And this artist don't know anything about yet. I just liked what I sampled. Martin Briley or not exactly sure. One Night with a Stranger. This I think is 1983. And I just checked out the first two songs on here, The Salt in My Tears and Just a Mile Away. Good early 1980s rock. You know, maybe a little new wave flavor thrown into it, but just good early 80s rock. Not hard rock, just rock. And I found there was a second one in there, so I just went ahead and grabbed it because this is 1984. I have not listened to that yet, only checked out samples on the first one, but really enjoyed that. Been looking for this one for a while and can't find it on CD anywhere, so I picked it up on vinyl. Michael Stanley Band, Greatest Hits, H-I-N-T-S. For a long time thought this was actually a Greatest Hits album and steered clear of it, and then found out no, this is actually what people consider to be the best album by the band, maybe the one they kind of broke big on or whatever. And yeah, I'm glad that I'm going to get to check that out. And then I like the Pablo Cruz. I had gotten into the yacht rock, soft rock stuff a few weeks back, and so one of the bands I had picked up was Little River Band, and I found this one here, Time Exposure. And don't see a year on it right quickly to be able to tell you, but I'm going to be checking this out. Don't know anything about it, just another album. And then I think this was the second Christopher Cross album, but can't find this on CD, much like the Little River Band. Both Christopher Cross and Little River Band, so hard to find anything on CD. Called Another Page. And just, again, looking forward to checking out something other than those bands that have their most famous albums. And you can get those readily, but you can't get this other stuff. So all in all, 23 new finds for me. A lot of cool stuff from a lot of different variety of artists, from thrash metal to glam metal to progressive rock to yacht rock to straight up rock. It's all here. Yeah, so it's all here. Something for everyone, so to speak. A little bit of my musical taste across the board, something that was made for a very nice weekend, having all these things to enjoy. And so I'm gonna go listen to some more. Hopefully you guys also got some new finds and things of that nature, and hopefully you'll enjoy yours, and maybe this video helped turn you on to a few things. So take care, have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.